The Astros ride heroics from rookies Cam Smith, Colton Gordon, and Brandon Walter to power themselves to a series sweep over the Minnesota Twins. It's only their second series sweep of the season to this point, and it comes at home where they have been playing exceptionally great baseball during the season up to this point. We're going to talk all about this, taking a look at the series out west as the Astros maintain their 4.5 game lead over the Seattle Mariners, and also as they creep closer to the New York Yankees for the second best record in the American League. I mean, that of course is big when it comes to buys in the postseason, even though it's only June, but we're going to talk all about it. How sweep it is. It's been a minute since I've been able to say that. Just over a week ago, the Astros weren't quite able to complete a series sweep over the Guardians. And speaking of that Guardians video, if you guys were curious why I didn't post that video, I did edit it and I was trying to post it, but there was a processing error when it was trying to process up on YouTube. And unfortunately, after I had posted it, I had already deleted the file. So there's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. But that was still a great series nonetheless, with the Astros taking 2 out of 3 from them. But you guys know the deal. If we get a series sweep, cue the MLG horn. Oh, that feels good, man. Let's go. The Astros have been playing some very, very good baseball over the past couple of weeks. They are now, as of with this win over the Twins, a season high 11 games over 500 and 4.5 games ahead of the Seattle Mariners in the American League West. Like I said earlier, they are also creeping up on the Yankees for the second best record in the American League overall, with them being only a game and a half behind them. So, man, the AL standings are going to be keeping close. It's just a matter of whether we can keep this up. Obviously, our schedule is going to be tightening up as the season progresses and going into the All-Star break, but I'm optimistic that the Astros will still be able to continue to get things done. We're obviously going to hopefully be getting some guys back soon. But diving straight into the series itself, the Astros were all over Twins starter Chris Paddack in this game. They had tagged him for 8 runs after 3 innings, 9 in total after 4 innings, but not before the Twins had gotten on the board after that inning. But breaking that down here, the Astros had loaded the bases with only 1 out. Jake Meyers unfortunately could not come through, but Cam Smith came through big time as he hit home a 2 RBI double, scoring at both Pena and Yonier Diaz. And then Jacob Melton would also come through with an RBI single in that inning to make it 3-0 Astros after 1. Going into the bottom of the second, the Astros would then score another pair of runs thanks to a 2-run double by Jose Altuve. Unfortunately, with Christian Walker at the plate, he got caught stealing third base. He just started his jump a little prematurely. Colton Gordon was rolling along in this game just a week after he had picked up his first major league win. He was able to deliver his first MLB quality start in this game, which was very good to see. The fact that the Astros are able to still get some pitching depth from those minor league pitchers is just insane. And I mean, we're in a 6-man rotation right now because we're playing in a stretch of 14 games, or I think it's 13 games in a span of 13 days with no days off. A lot of our minor league pitchers this weekend in particular, like Colton Gordon, Brandon Walter, and also Ryan Gusto, they've actually been pitching pretty good. And it's going to be tough to see which guy is the odd man out whenever we shrink down to a 5-man rotation or when Spencer Arrighetti comes back. We could slot some of those guys in the bullpen, but like the fact that we're still able to get to showcase some depth from our minor league starters is just insane. Because like I had said in previous videos, one of our biggest problems entering this season or even entering camp was the depth, or lack thereof, for that matter. And so far, I mean, again, it's only June, so it's only a small sample size of what these minor league pitchers are doing. But so far, they've been doing great. I mean, I think my favorite one I think I've seen at this point has definitely been Colton Gordon. He's been doing great, and Brandon Walter also pitched a gem of a game in the series finale. More on that in a bit. But so far, I mean, these guys, of course, are actually playing pretty good. And like I said, if we shrink down back to a 5-man rotation once the workload kind of lightens up a little bit, it's going to be tough to see which one is going to get sent back down to AAA, or maybe we might keep some, but at least he stays in the bullpen. Like I said, I'm not sure. But staying on track here over the course of this game, Jacob Melton would collect his second RBI of the game in the bottom of the 3rd inning on an RBI triple. Actually, make that a 2 RBI triple, scoring Jake Meyers and Cam Smith. Cam Smith and Jake Meyers also had each gotten base hits in the bottom in this inning, setting that up. Mauricio Dubon would make it 8-0 Astros after 3 with a sac fly. And then, unfortunately, the Twins would get on the board with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning against Colton Gordon with a home run by Willie Castro. But, considering the fact that, again, we were up 8-0, not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. Personally, I'm a little bit surprised to see that Chris Paddock was still in this game. But considering that in the series leading up to this against the Rangers, that the Twins were just absolutely destroyed by the Rangers in 2 out of the 3 games when they gave up 16 runs. I feel like the reason why Chris Paddock stayed in this game as long as he did was so that the Twins manager could try and lengthen him out just a little bit and try to ease up the workload on his bullpen, which obviously that was a pretty smart move. Ultimately, of course, like I said, it was just not Chris Paddock's night or the Twins' night for that matter. The Astros ultimately went on to win this game 10-3 with Jacob Melton collecting 2 hits and 3 ribbies, Altuve collecting 2 hits, and Pena continuing his all-star level campaign, collecting another 4 hits, including a ribby. Overall, of course, like I said, good old-fashioned butt whooping. Not a night that we can, not kinds of night that we see on a nightly basis anymore with this team and how old they get. But hey, we'll take what we can get. Going into Game 2, this was a pitcher's duel that certainly lived up to expectations. Hunter Brown against Joe Ryan, who both of which have some of the best ERAs among AL starters. And it was Joe Ryan who blinked first in this game, giving up a 2-run home run to Yonier Diaz in the bottom of the 3rd inning to make it 2-0 Astros. But sadly, Hunter Brown would blink 2 innings later as he gave up a game-tying 2-run home run to Brooks Lee, which would tie the score. That would be the score going into the bottom of the 9th, but more on that shortly. Hunter Brown was just absolutely amazing once again. He struck out a new career high 12 batters, which is also a new season high for him. That was absolutely amazing to finally see him get back into form after he had given up 9 walks in his past 2 starts. He only gave up 1 in this start, which was amazing. It was good to see him finally get back to his form that we have grown used to seeing him in over the course of this entire season. But going into the 9th inning, Josh Hader, of course, had to come in a non-safe situation to ensure that the game would stay where it was to give the Astros a shot at winning it in the bottom of the 9th. Obviously, there was nobody up in the Astros bullpen in the bottom of the 9th, so it was pretty clear that he was going to have to work 2 innings if the game had gone to Manfred innings, which fortunately it did not. After Altuve had missed a home run by just a couple of feet, Harrison Bader would make a fairly decent catch on a ball that definitely did stay in play, but I guess he just jumped just to show off, I guess. Christian Walker would then draw a 1-out walk to hurt himself as the winning run on first base, and after Victor Caratini had struck out, Jake Myers was able to keep the inning alive with a ground ball up the middle that he was able to knock in for a base hit, moving Christian Walker all the way over to third base to set him up to set the stage for Cam Smith. And wouldn't you know it, exactly a year ago to this day, when he was playing in the College World Series for Florida State, he was able to deliver the walk-off base hit for his first walk-off of his career to win the game for the Astros in the bottom of the 9th against one of the best closers in the game in Johan Duran. And ultimately, this would actually be one of 2 blown holds that he would suffer in this game. The second of which was in Game 2 of the series, and it was actually, and believe it or not, it was actually in a save situation for him. But going into the series finale, like I said earlier, Brandon Walter had pitched an absolute gem in this game, going 6 2/3 innings, allowing 1 earned run on 6 hits, which was a home run in the top of the 3rd inning by Brooks Lee. But in that process, he struck out 9 batters and allowed 0 walks, which if you ask me, that is arguably one of the best starts of his major league career to this point. If he keeps this up, dude, it's going to be a tough decision as far as who gets sent back down once we shrink back to a 5-man rotation. But Sean Dubin and Bennett Sosa were able to combine and keep the Twins off the scoreboard for the remainder of the final 9 innings of this game. While going into the bottom of the 9th, Johan Duran was being called on to try and save this game like he probably should have done on Saturday, but ultimately did not. He would issue a leadoff walk to Jeremy Pena on a pitch that was relatively close, but ultimately it went Pena's way, and he was on first base representing the tying run. So he was now in scoring position with Altuve. Altuve would swing at a pretty bad pitch and hit it over to the left-hand side of the infield, although he very well should have just laid off that pitch, because considering that it was ball 4, he was able to leg it out. He was able to get on base the hard way and leg it out regardless. That would then set the stage for Victor Caratini, who was able to bring home Jeremy Pena on a sac fly. That would then send the game to Manfred innings after Jake Myers had flied out to end the inning. Going into the top of the 10th, the Astros would call on Josh Hader to have a shutdown inning. And Josh Hader would deliver big time as the Twins couldn't even get a ball through the infield with a pair of pop-outs by Christian Vasquez and Carlos Correa. Going into the bottom of the 10th, Jake Meyers was our Manfred runner. He didn't even move from second base after a ground out from Cam Smith and a strikeout by Cooper Hummel, who was selected his contract earlier this weekend series. I could be wrong on this, but I feel like Cooper Hummel had actually made his major league debut for us last year, considering that I didn't see anything about this being his major league debut. But again, I could be wrong on this. But with 2 outs and Jake Meyers still at second base as our Manfred runner, Mauricio Dubon had hit a pretty deep fly ball out to left field that Harrison Bader looked like had a good beat on it, but he straight up just did not make this catch. To me, I am a little bit surprised that he did not make this catch because he very well should have. And I mean, if you wouldn't want to even look back on it, if Dubon had actually gotten out a little more in front of this pitch, he probably would have crushed it into the Crawford boxes for a home run anyhow. But regardless, he ended up winning the game for the Astros on a bit more of an unlucky way, with Harrison Bader, like I said, dropping that catch in what should have sent the game to the 11th. And Mauricio Dubon, of course, was feeling rather bittersweet because this was his first Father's Day as a father. And it was Father's Day when he hit this, coincidentally, so kind of brings it full circle. But regardless, that would win the game for the Astros, completing the series sweep over the Minnesota Twins. So hopefully they can keep this up. Next up for the Astros, they're hitting the skies to travel to both Sacramento to take on the A's for 4 games, and then Anaheim and then their first visit to Anaheim will be the next weekend, where they'll take on the Angels for 3. So a 7-game road trip covering the west coast of California, both the northern and southern part of the state. So hopefully we can get things done. We struggled on the road this year, but we are drawing some pretty lucky opponents. So hopefully we can get our act together this series. I mean, obviously it's a tough ask for us to go undefeated on this road trip. I mean, I'm confident that we can do that. Certainly can do that. But I mean, if I were to make a prediction right now, I think I'll be happy if we can take at least 4 out of 7 on this road trip, preferably 5 out of 7, but at least 4 out of 7, which would secure a winning road trip. So, regardless, that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you liked it, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and if you want to watch any of my other videos, click these cards here above my shoulders. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one.